All right, we are joined here after the final round of the FM Championship by FM Ambassador and Massachusetts local, Megan Khang. Can you just take us through your week? It was obviously very busy.
Honestly, it's always fun being at home. It was a little busy than let's say a normal week for me, but, I kind of took it head on just because I knew how big of a week this was, not only for myself, but obviously being an ambassador for FM and wanting all the players to kind of get the best out of the Boston experience. And, other than, the mishap weather on Friday, I'd say it was a pretty great week. It's always a little more pressure that I kind of put on myself to play well for those that come out to watch. But, once I kind of settled down, once my caddy kind of reiterated to me, like, everyone's here in support of me and not to put more pressure on me, it kind of settled me a little bit. And, obviously happened to make the weekend. I felt like I played well, but I think some of the girls are playing a little different course than I am. And so it'll be an interesting finish, though, but really happy to get this week done and play relatively well with everything that happened in the week.
FM has done a lot for the players this week, and obviously as we're coming to a close, can you just reflect a bit on what makes this event so unique in the way that FM approaches it?
I think FM truly approaches it in great fashion. I think they do a great job in asking what the players want, and not only asking, but actually delivering. When it's accommodation, cars, food, they do not shy away from what the players ask for and what they need. And, to me, it's a really special relationship because obviously I do have a tad more people coming in to support myself. And, they've let every one of my friends' family come up to their FM chalet and have been nothing but gracious and generous with myself, the caddy. Even in the rain delays, I went up to the chalet instead of player dining. And it was super nice just because, everyone obviously wants to say hi, but at the same time, they're being so respectful, like trying not to take too much of my time. And so it's been a great week for me, obviously, having them really kind of step up the plate and set the bar high for other tournaments and sponsors to come along. I'm very proud of that. And, hopefully FM's just one step away for leading a whole new spur of tournaments that come join on the LPGA.
You have obviously been on tour for a few years. Traveling the world is fun, but it can get exhausting. How does it feel to be able to come off your final round and have so much family and friends there to greet you, which is not something that you get week to week?
It's great. My younger cousins have recently picked up golf, and it's pretty cool because I told them, I used to call them my little cousins, but now they're a lot bigger than me. So I call them my younger cousins. And, to see them kind of tease me about playing golf back in the day when, I had to leave some family parties early just to go practice, and to see them kind of come out and rooting for me. And they get to see kind of what I get to do week in and week out. It's really cool just because now that they play golf, they have a little deeper appreciation for the game, and it's really cool to have it so close there. We actually planned to get dinner like after a round like today, and it's nice when it is home because we can all just kind of hop in a car and drive to dinner.
At this time, I'll open it up to the media in the room.
Hi, Megan. You told me last week that your goal was to play better than last year. I know the ultimate goal is to raise the trophy at the end, but do you feel like you played better this year?
I feel like the ball strike and everything was there. I just don't feel like I hold many putts, but, like I said, I definitely put a lot more pressure on myself, and it's something that I'm going to have to kind of get a little better about coming into these weeks, just because, like my caddy said, like everyone's here in support and not to put pressure on me. And again, it's just the pressure I put on myself. Obviously wanting for those who like work during the week to come out on the weekend and stuff like that. But, I felt as though my game was in a really good spot. I hit some really great shots, wasn't able to convert some of the birdies that I wish I did. A little shaky start just because of the nerves, but, I feel like, hopefully by next year it settles down a little more, playing in front of the home crowd. But, I feel like if you're not nervous, it means you don't care. So I will take this in stride and definitely learn a lot of like really trying to tell myself like everyone's here to support myself and not, to add pressure.
And you talk a lot about the pressure you put on yourself. How do you get over that? Is it just kind of reminding yourself that these people are here for you?
Yeah, it's kind of reminding myself that, we do this week in and week out. I've practiced my whole life for moments like these, and I just got to kind of look at it in a positive light, where it's everyone's here, and it's not often that everyone gets to kind of come around. So being able to play in front of friends and family that normally wouldn't be able to, it's more of a positive instead of like a pressure aspect. And when I think of that, it's a little more settling because my cousins are going to college. I think they're moving in. Some of them are moving in tomorrow, and so it's really cool that they came out today. And again, it's more of a positive note to have than a pressure point. Just because I love seeing them out here. I love hanging out with them. I mean, they're a big reason of why I stay in Massachusetts, and it's nice when it's a family affair.
I wonder if you would indulge kind of a bigger picture question. You're such an ambassador for the area and the game. As somebody who doesn't play, right, and I watch some of these shots that you make or miss and don't make, like why do you love golf? It seems to me such a hard, cruel game at times. Like why do you love it? What would you tell people why you love it? What brings you back all the time?
It's funny enough, it's the heartbreak and it's the highs and lows that kind of bring me back. It's we work, obviously it's a perfectionist sport that you can't be perfect at, and for the most part, a lot of us are losing majority of the weeks that we play, and it's definitely hard to kind of get over if you look at it from that side. But at the end of the day, like the ultimate goal is obviously to win at at the end of the week, each week. And I love competing. I love playing against the best in the world. I love being able to travel the world, play a sport that I love for a living, just because I've just grown up playing it where as a child, I was very competitive. I still am very much competitive, but I love the fact that like golf just kind of falls directly on you. Like if you're gonna be upset with someone, you just kind of have to look in the mirror. And to me, like golf reflects a lot about life, and so it's trying to take the negatives of like, let's say a bad shot and trying to make it positive. Like I'll be completely honest, number 7 and I this week weren't really the best of friends, and I finally hit the middle of the fairway today, and then I found the middle of the cross bunker. And I'm looking at my caddy going, what in the world am I doing in this spot? Like it couldn't have been an easier quote unquote second shot. And now I have a 96-yard bunker shot where I can't see the pin, and I end up birdieing it. And it's because, stuff like that where it's like, okay, he's telling me like, hey, it's fine, like you can do this. And then it's kind of like playing a little game with myself of like, okay, how good can Megan Khang be out of this position? Like, how can I get out of these? And I think I love the fact that the sport constantly challenges me. I was in the middle of the fairway today on number 4, and I was right next to my pitch mark from the tee. And it's funny because like, you could be, again, in the middle of the fairway. I think yesterday I was in the middle of the fairway of 6, and I was in a divot. And I think, there's 2 ways to look at it, and golf has definitely taught me a lot about myself and life itself, because it's one thing to hit a bad shot or to have a bad lie in a fairway, but it's another to either gripe about it or just to get over it. And so that kind of relating to life and helping me kind of appreciate, the good shots and that good with the bad, it's been beneficial, I think, for myself being off the golf course as well.
What was you mentioned some of the tougher spots. What are the best ones you'll remember from this tournament? Can you remember them as easily?
I think that's something I have a little problem with. I have a hard time remembering the good shots. Today I hit like a great one into 15. We had about 132 pin, and I hit like a choke down 8-iron, and it had to be a super soft one. The same as number 10, I had like 138 pin, and it was 126 to cover on line with the pin and nearly hold it. It is cool where it's like you have those kind of shots where like it brings you in like, okay, yeah, like this is the Megan I know. And it's nice to get rewarded when you do the good things. Obviously, it's not going to happen all the time, but again, it's taking the good with the bad and seeing how good you can be when you happen to find yourself in a quote unquote bad spot.
My last one, but is there a comparative sport that is like as solo or isolating? I don't know if you've ever played tennis or something, but do you think golf is completely unique in that way and kind of how much it's on just the individual?
I think golf is such a unique sport because at the end of the day, it's whoever plays the golf course the best. In tennis, you're literally going against one other person, and then you kind of win or lose that match. If you win, you go play a different person and stuff like that. Whereas like golf, it's the same holes, same yardages, same stuff like that. It's just truly whoever manages themselves on the golf course better, whoever holds more putts, and there's truly nothing you can be upset about. I played with my good friend Allison today, and obviously, you still want to beat your friends out there, but there's nothing I can do. Like, she just hit some really good shots, made some really good putts, and it's always sad when you lose to a friend, but it's fine. You just got to accept the fact that she played better than me today, and that's fine because there's nothing like I could have done. She didn't physically do anything to me, and so I think I would lose in that match anyway. She could probably hold me with her arms straight, and I wouldn't be able to touch her. And I think that's like the beauty of golf is that it's truly how you are able to get around and approach this course, and it's obviously you have to have a little luck on your side, but at the end of the day, like as when I was growing up, my dad always said, like, you're playing against the golf course and, not really anyone other than match play, essentially.
Megan, the weather on Friday really set the tone kind of for the weekend, fortunately. As much as you try to just play the golf course, everybody ends up having to play the weather and the elements. How much did that weather and the elements on Friday affect your game, your approach to it, everything about the day?
Friday's tough. I was very happy to finish. I'll take that as a positive. It's definitely hard because I was playing with Lexi and Ingrid, and we both had a great hot start on our front nine, which was the back nine. And on the first horn, I was on the 18th green putting for birdie, and it caught me like mid-stroke. I couldn't believe I actually paused, stopped my stroke, and it's hard when the first one's over an hour wait. But you just gotta take it for what it is. No one can control Mother Nature, and again, like life, you can either sit and pout about it and say, why aren't we out there, or you just be like, you know what, there's a reason why we're not out there. Just kind of have to sit and wait. But it's definitely hard, kind of going on and off the golf course, just because obviously golf, if you tend to get into a rhythm, it's normally your friend. But again, it was tough for everyone, whether you were in the afternoon wave, waiting all day just to tee off. I know the last tee time was just right before 7 o'clock at night, and they probably played 1 or 2 holes. So for me, I'm kind of taking it as a positive. Like, at least I was able to finish. I didn't have to come back and play more than 18 holes. And hopefully, I don't think that's going to be the highlight of the week. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting finish coming up. But, I think as golfers, we play an outdoor sport, so you kind of just have to take it for what it is.
Does it affect your strategy hole to hole, what you're picking as your targets on each shot, club selection, not getting too aggressive?
No, it definitely changed a little bit. Obviously, we got a pretty good rainfall during those breaks, so it made the greens a touch softer. But other than that, it's just kind of taking it for what it is and just kind of learning, when you go back out there, how the conditions have changed from you were playing before, and just really adjusting as quick as you can.
In horse racing, they call horses that do good on the muddy tracks, and in that weather, the mudders. Do you kind of look at the field and say, okay, who are the mudders here, or who are going to be able to tough it out today? Jack Nicklaus used to say, I hear people, the other players complaining about course conditions, green speed, the weather, and he says, I just check them off the list. Gone, gone, gone. Players I don't have to worry about competing against. Do you look at other players that way in terms of some of them are going to compete and some of them aren't, so just try to be able to compete?
Honestly, I don't really try to, focus on the other players in that sense. I think it's hard enough trying to get myself back into my own groove and trying to get myself right on track. I was kind of in the FM chalet for the most part, so I didn't really run into any players. I kind of just separated myself from that just to kind of give myself a little break from having to kind of feel the, not tension, but just the anxiousness of everyone trying to get back out there and try to feel, where the rush was or how everyone was feeling about it. So, it's hard because, someone can be upset about it, and then they can also go out and shoot, 8 under. It's all hearsay, but, you never know how anyone's going to play, and so I just kind of have to focus on myself.
Yeah, last question. How do you kind of sum up your season thus far? And as you look from here to the end of the year, what are your goals? What are you looking for to do?
My season's been kind of like a slow start. It kind of had a pretty good run the past couple of weeks, having 2 back-to-back top 10s. I'm not sure what I finished this week, but I hope it's better than last year. I know the score is better, but I think everyone else's scores are better too. No, I feel like my game's in a good spot. You know, I've talked to my caddy about this. You know, our ball striking's kind of where we want it to be. I feel like I've hit fantastic shots, just, again, haven't really converted some of the putts, whether it's getting a little unlucky where the hole feels a little small or just kind of not matching the speed with the line. But, sorry, there's a bug. But no, I feel like, you know, there's definitely going to be a week where everything clicks for me, and hopefully it's soon. I feel like, you know, I've come to be in a good place where my game's at, and once, again, that putter gets hot, you know, hopefully it's not too far away, and, you know, I feel like we're going to keep giving ourselves a good chance and keep putting ourselves in contention.
Hey, Megan, just one from me. I mean, golf is a game of such slim margins, right? Mm-hmm. And how do you talked about focusing on yourself when the crowd is oohing or awing, or maybe, you know, putt comes just short and it's the ooh. How do you balance those emotions with staying within yourself, and what was your reaction to that pretty healthy reception you got on the 18th green?
I mean, they're not saying anything I'm not saying to myself. Obviously, it's a little upsetting when you miss some putts, just barely, but I mean, you know, I'll take it as like all the oohs and ahs are just kind of like, obviously they want them to go in, they want to see holes, putts getting holed and stuff like that, and so, you know, obviously it can get a little frustrating because I feel like I've missed the last few coming in just barely, but, you know, again, I try to take it in for what it is. I mean, they're not coming at it from like a negative side of it, and so, you know, I joke, but obviously I'm a little upset as well, so it is pretty funny. But, you know, to get the ovation that we got coming into 18, and obviously like FM and the fans and the home crowd just really being there, and I really wanted to make the last one on 18 for them, but just ever so slightly underread it. But, you know, to get that kind of appreciation and the applause that they did, it's it's really cool just being able to play at home, and, you know, it makes all the stress that I put on myself worth it. And, you know, I guess, as my dad would say, like, these are the moments we live for and practice for.
Thank you.
Thank you, Megan. Enjoy the off week.
Thank you.